that's funny. Noah usually walks in with me from the parking lot so we can do like a pop culture commentary thing. Must be running late. Too bad. I really wanted to talk about Squid Game, man.
And perfect.
Oh, Jesus. What did you do? What just happened?
Or do you mean when did I do, Cecil?
No, I did not mean that. No, I didn't mean. No,
Well, okay. Cecil, if you must ask,
I didn't.
this week's episode is about the phantom time hypothesis. So I sent everyone an email telling them that we're recording at a different time today. But everyone got a different email, huh?
Why would anyone listen to that? I send out the show schedule, man.
Oh, yeah, I know. I didn't send it out as me. I sent it from your email.
You guessed my password?
No, I answered your security questions. Remember, I learned your mom's maiden name that time I showed up to Thanksgiving, pretended to be your sister's kid. It was easy, actually, like super.
You know, you could use your brain for so many other things that aren't like this. You know that, right?
Yeah, you sound like a lot of my therapists right now. It's crazy how much you sound like them.
Hey, Cecil, what gives, man? You usually are in the parking lot. When I get here, I had good thoughts on Squid Game this week.
It's Eli. He emailed everyone at a different time because of his stupid topic.
Dude, lame.
Not lame, thematic. Think about it. The phantom time hypothesis is this mind-blowing archaeological theory that changes the very course of history as we know it. And now we're experiencing that sensation in miniature right before the podcast. It's perfect.
It's not perfect. It's stupid. Just like the phantom time hypothesis, which is a ridiculous conspiracy theory, which literally any amount of thought totally fucking debunks.
Don't lash out, Cecil. Not here. Not in front of Heath.
What are you talking about? Heath's not even...
Hey-ho, where my gomboos at? Right? Gomboos?
God damn it.
Gombo.
God damn it.
It's real.
Hello and welcome to Citation Needed, podcast where we choose a subject, read a single article about it on Wikipedia, and pretend we're experts because this is the internet. That's how it works now. I'm Cecil, and I'll be apologizing profusely for picking Eli last week as the essayist for this week. But to do this right, I had to bring along the people that apologize for Eli on a much more regular basis, Heath, Noah, and Eli.
Yeah, I'm basically the William Lane Craig of Eli apologetics at this point. It's getting ridiculous. I'm ultimately wrong every time, but I've made a career out of it. So
Yeah.
William Lane Craig.
You know, honestly, I've given up
The
apologizing.
Kalam Bosmological argument.
Very good.
Honestly, I've given up apologizing for him. Everybody knows what they're getting in retrospect. At least that's enough for me.
Right?
Yeah. And Cecil, if the internet's taught me anything, it's that I never have to apologize. And if I do, it's cancel culture.
There you go.
Okay. Yeah. Podcast listener, takes a lot of time and research to write a knowledgeable and interesting essay every week. And sometimes we need a break and Eli gets a turn. So, yeah, I'm kidding. We're contractually obligated to give him a turn.
There we go.
But anyway, if you want to help keep this show going, you can stick around till later and we'll tell you how to give us money. And with that out of the way, tell us, Heath, what person, place, thing, concept, phenomenon, or event will we be talking about today?
We're going to be talking about the phantom time hypothesis.
Ooh.
That sounds like a giant lie. So this is going to be right up your alley,
Sure
Eli. Tell us, what is this Phantom Menace? Whatever you got.
It's the theory first postulated by extremely reliable and smart Jesuit priests and carried forward by historical, mathematical, and radiological outsiders that anywhere between
Drain the swamp.
297 and 1,000 years of world history as we know it is fake. Dun, dun, dun. See, so you put in the dun, dun, dun sound right there, right?
Yeah. Can you just do it one more time so I know exactly what you're talking about?
Yeah, it's just like dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, no problem. I can absolutely do that.
Nice. Okay. So our story begins with a near illusions-esque flashback to the alleged year of 1700, when French Jesuit and librarian Jean Houdin theorized that most of the art and literature from ancient Greece and Rome were 13th century forgeries created by I shit you not, this was really his theory. A secret cabal of atheists trying to make the Bible look bad.
Okay, yeah, but now they just read it and then they make accurate skits based on the content.
Yeah,
that's how you do
that's
it.
true.
Yeah.
How
it
hard is it to make
takes.
the Bible look bad? I feel like 13th century Noah's back there. And he's like, guys, I feel like forging centuries of art. That's going to be like a whole thing. Can we just, point out the slavery endorsement or homophobia? No, those are both good right now. The stabbing your kid for God, though, that's bad for everybody, right?
Yeah. Okay. But to be clear, though, almost all the history as we know it is fake, right? Especially if we include all the various members of we and then average it out. What he was hypothesizing is that, like, those years weren't there at all. Like, we just rolled the calendar up a couple centuries, like my wife trying to get the bonuses in Animal Crossing and hope nobody would notice.
Exactly. Yes. Exactly. Now,
Folded it like
I
a
wanna-
fitted sheet and turned it into a calendar that's missing stuff.
You come to me with the 13th century. Never mind. Now, I want to give Hardouin his due here. He was almost certainly a loon, but in his defense, if you were a Catholic priest raised in the Jesuit tradition, the 1700s sucked ass for you. Right? In Hardouin's lifetime, let alone his career as a librarian, the world started widely distributing ancient texts on every possible subject, which were all vastly superior to the Bible, which Hardouin unfalteringly believed was the word of God. Like, have you read a medieval play? It's like being told a knock-knock joke by a mentally ill toddler. I'm saying,
Okay.
if you
You read a
spent your...
medieval play?
Sadly, I have.
Which one? Which one did you read?
Medieval
Yep.
play.
They just called it play at that point. It's fine.
Medieval,
They only had
medieval
one.
cats.
They only had one. They just
Cats.
passed it on. There you go.
I'm just saying, if you spent your whole life trying to suss out the secrets of the universe from the Book of Kings, and then society kicks down your door to show you how much better they were at math 1,000 years before the Word of God was written, that's gonna sting.
Is it not written in the annals of the mentally ill toddler? That's a Book of Kings deep cut there. You got to know.
Yeah, absolutely. So further, a ton of ancient Greek texts Hardouin came across were forgeries. Right? Hell, 150 years later, Joseph Smith starts a religion because 5 of his buddies saw his magic golden Bible. Right? 1700s were an absolute boom in the market for antiquities, and wherever there's people willing to pay for something, there's criminals willing to fake that something for cash.
Yeah, and right now, during the pandemic, the criminals are the far-right commentators faking medical expertise for cash. That makes sense.
Yeah, exactly.
What up, fellas? Anyone got rickets or a blind horse? This right here is the healing ewer of Athena.
Yeah, pretty much. Either way, Hardouin, much to the mockery of his contemporaries, concluded that the drama, philosophy, and the art of ancient Greeks were fake, and his ideas lay largely dormant for years until the alleged 1850s, when Russian revolutionary Nikolai Alexandrovich Morozov picked up the totem of truth and carried it further into the light.
Yeah, it turns out this disinformation campaign is a little older than we were giving it credit for.
Yep.
Now, I want to point out Morozov is an interesting ass dude, and honestly probably worth his own episode, right? He did some cool space shit. He thought things about atoms that not a lot of people had thought before. It was
Like what?
confusing. And they were rings. And he signed up to be a sniper at the siege of Leningrad at the age of 84
What?
and survived.
What, did he just nap through it? Like what?
He killed a bunch of, and he didn't have, there's a whole story about it. Like, he didn't have glasses, and they were like, oh, you won't be able to snipe. And he was like, give me. And he just shot a bunch of people anyways. It was very cool. But his importance
Glad
to
you
our
included it in
story
the essay. That's cool.
had to get to my very important facts about this theory.
No, yeah. Sure.
Facts.
But his importance to our story comes in his study of the timeline of Christendom.
Okay, I realized that Eli meant Christendom, but he wrote Christendom. And now I want a Mad Max style-esque sort of fight to the death between religions. That's what I really want.
Okay, you want the Crusades? You're describing the Crusades.
But with the dome.
With a dome, right? Thank
With
you.
a dome.
No,
It's
with a
bad
dome.
weather.
No.
And
With
stuff,
point.
spectators.
Crusades would have been fine if they had a dome. We've always said that here on Citation Needed. And look, I don't want to get too deep in the weeds on this, but in Morozov's defense, the historicity of Christendom, especially in the 1850s, is a fucking mess. Okay? It's been 20 years since 9/11, and depending on the survey, about half of Americans think the government was behind it. Now, imagine that 9/11 had happened 1,000 years ago, that there'd been at least 3 9/11 commissions in the meantime that all concluded different things, and that at one of those 9/11 commissions, Santa punched a guy in the face.
Okay, the government definitely shot down those reindeer over Pennsylvania. That we know for sure.
And like 1850 post-revolutionary Russia was one of the only places it was safe to examine this kind of thing.
Okay, the Russian Revolution was in 1917. Are you using a phantom timeline here or what?
Bep. So
I think he meant industrial revolution, but
bep.
Enlightenment.
So Morozov does some math, he compares it with history, and he realizes that the timeline Christianity is working with is, to say the least, off a bit. But Morozov, unlike Hardouin, figures that at least some of that Greek shit that Hardouin thought was fake must have happened. So he figures it must have happened during the Middle Ages, giving birth to the new chronology theory, a theory which is very similar to the phantom time hypothesis, but as we'll learn, is somehow even sillier. But why? By whomst? When for? Well, that question wouldn't get answered until more than 100 years later, when a Russian mathematician and a German crazy guy unveiled the truth once and for all.
Oh, I guess that's break time. All right. Well, confident in the knowledge that we're waiting for nothing, we're going to pass around the hat probably for 10 to 20 minutes, but we'll be back in a bit for a little apropos of nothing.
also signs. We got to have signs, right?
Oh, like hidden everywhere. Yes.
Hey guys, what you doing?
Oh, hey, Heath and I are making our own conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, what's the conspiracy theory?
We do not believe in Thursday.
You don't believe in
Thursday, the day, yeah.
the day of the week.
What? You know how it always feels like, you know, it's Monday, Tuesday, Friday. All of a sudden it's Friday. That's because Thursday is actually a creation of Big Calendar to sell more Buffalo Wild Wings. Pretty sure.
Okay, just gonna leave all of that alone. How is it going?
It's not great, actually. We made a Twitter for it. We put a few posts on Reddit, but it doesn't seem like it's really picking up any steam.
Oh, hey, I got you, boo.
What was that?
Oh, I just tweeted that as a Jewish person, I was really hurt by your theory.
Why would you do that?
Wait for it.
Oh, holy shit. We just got 8 million Twitter followers, guys.
Yeah. If you want to sell BS, you just make it a little anti-Semitic.
You don't know it's BS. Freedom of speech.
Heath, we do know, though. We made this up like 40 minutes ago.
Oh, yes. Right. That was just now. Yeah. Sorry. It was a lot of Twitter followers.
No, I
gets
get
to
it. It happens.
Freedom of speech. Sorry.
Sure.
And we're back. We left off. Some guys were wrong, and considering
That was it.
the near infinite
That's the recap.
amounts of wrong people you could have included, I guess I'm grateful this essay is only as long as it is so far. So, yeah.
Cecil got a two-parter. Why don't I get it?
No.
I love you too, Cecil.
Oh, skipping that. What happened next?
So, the Amulet of Knowledge is next picked up by mathematician Anatoly Timofeyevich Fomenko, who, like all great crazy people with academic credentials, is super smart about his thing, in this case, topological mathematics, and super not smart about everything else.
All right, cool. So I'm guessing he testifies at a congressional hearing about the danger of social justice, and then he makes a really sad Axe Kata video. something conceptual penis, calendars are a hoax, math.
There you go.
Pretty much, yeah.
James Lindsay did all that stuff for real. He's
Okay.
the worst.
Okay, to be fair, that's kind of true about pretty much all the people who are super smart about a thing. What distinguishes folks like Fomenko is the fact that they don't know it.
Exactly, right. We never made Carl Sagan do a cartwheel. That's the difference. But I'll fall down. Carl. So in 1973, using his own mathematical analysis of the Bible, Fomenko managed to flesh out the timeline that Morozov proposed, starting with the revelation that all of Chinese and Arab history are fabrications of 17th and 18th century Jesuits.
What?
So, what did he think that Chinese and Arabic people had instead of history?
Cuisines, maybe? It's not clear.
Was he aware that the world had other stuff besides, Arabia and China also?
He is not.
Okay.
I'm going to continue his theory straight from Wikipedia here. See if you can catch the shade from the Wikipedia editors here at the end. Quote, he also claims that Jesus lived in the 12th century AD and was crucified on Joshua's Hill, that the Trojan War and the Crusades were the same historical event, and that Genghis Khan and the Mongols were actually Russians, that the lands west of the 13 colonies that now constitute the American West and Middle West were a far eastern part of the Siberian American Empire prior to its disintegration in 1775, and many other theories that contradict the conventional historiography, to say the least. End quote.
No, I love that he made them Russian specifically. See, guys, it's not as embarrassing as we thought. It turned out we kicked our own asses. It was us.
And if you're thinking to yourself, wait a second, didn't we have like carbon dating and shit by 1973? Yes, we did. But that stuff is all wrong because reasons. Also, even if it wasn't, carbon dating only tells you how old stuff is, not what year it happened.
Yes, it does. It's both. You'd be able to find out.
Heath.
Bep, 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 bep.
Exactly. Bep, 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 bep. Now,
No.
Fomenko,
I was stopping you. No.
Bep, 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 bep. Now, Fomenko is still alive, and he's actually still a member of the Russian Academy of Sciences.
Really?
For the numbers on map stuff, not for this bullshit. But his idea never gained wide acceptance or spread. It wasn't until the German genius with a penis, my nickname, not his, Herbert Illig, blasted this bad boy wide open with his seminal work, Geschlacht zur Rekonstruktion der Menschheit und Neurotestastik.
That's
No,
Illig.
you just made noises in a
not
lot of those.
even-
They weren't even related to the letters on
Whatever.
the
He got
page.
closer than I thought he would.
He's like,
That's true. That's true. It didn't really fall apart until the Menschites.
at a certain point at the end, he's like squeezing his tummy like a bagpipe just to get those sounds out of there. It was amazing.
His grandpa killed my grandpa. I don't have to learn his words. So Illig
That's the rule.
made some major changes to the work that came before him, and his hypothesis has caught on in a way that none of the previous time adjustificators did.
What?
It received mainstream press in Germany in 1991.
German revisionist history. Say it isn't so, guys. Come on.
Yeah, and it caught on especially hard in the early days of the internet, capturing the imaginations of conspiracy loons like David Icke, but also normal people
Amazing.
like novelist and vlogbrother John Green, who apparently was firmly convinced of this theory as a teenager, but has since read or learned anything in the history of ever.
That'll do it. Yeah.
So, what is the phantom time hypothesis? And does it hold water? You decide.
Okay.
Does not.
I just want to do a quick recap. Russian James Lindsay said time is a hoax. Some German guy wrote Time Kampf, and David Icke is on board with all of this. Please proceed with the rest
Yeah.
of
He's
your
a French
Yeah.
guy.
awesome
I just-
essay.
I just love that they're going like, hey, okay, just when it seemed that nobody even wanted to believe the all of history is bullshit hypothesis, along came Germany. That's predictable.
Okay, so according to Illig, who I should point out has read many thick leather books and has a desk of fine mahogany, in order to legitimize the rule of the Holy Roman Emperor Otto III, quote, Otto, Pope Sylvester II, and possibly the Byzantine Emperor Constantine VII fabricated the Anno Domini dating system retroactively in order to place them at the special year of AD 1000 and to rewrite history to legitimize Otto's claim to the Holy Roman Empire, end quote.
Okay, but how is that helpful? Like, who was being like, it's 793, not a power of 10. This guy's a fucking fraud. Murder. What? Wait a minute. I've just looked at the new calendar.
Exactly. Yeah. So in doing this, they created the entire so-called Carolingian period and the figure of so-called Charlemagne, adding 297 years to the early Middle Ages.
Okay, I feel like you add those years closer to the beginning of AD. I mean, it's still dumb, but that would be less work, right? It was like change something in the Bible.
Yeah.
So Bible could just be like, yada, 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 fast forward, 297, done.
Yeah, you'd think. So what evidence does Illig have to support his claim? Many and muchly. Thank you. First, there is no archaeological evidence that can be reliably dated to the period AD 614 to 911.
There's so much
That's
evidence.
incorrect.
You could just go see it. You live like 30 minutes from the Natural History Museum, man.
And
There's no
even
and.
if it was their supposed evidence, the inadequacies of radiometric and dendrochronological methods during that period are obvious.
Eli, really quick. I will rename all of our podcasts the Eli Bosnick Happy Fun Podcasts.
Ooh.
If you can tell me what dendrochronological means.
Old
Mhm.
dentists.
Okay.
It means tree ring dating, and the dead ass reliable record goes back at least 13,000 years for the northern hemisphere. So like maybe the early Middle Ages are just fake in the southern hemisphere, but in the northern hemisphere, like for sure,
Trees are fake.
Gap in the tree. The trees are in on it. Whatever. Evidence piece number 2.
Pope, the Byzantine emperor, and the trees got together. All the Entwives.
Exactly. Whatever. Evidence number 2.
No, if it's real, it's evidence 1, but it's not. So it's evidence 0 again.
Zero.
Oh,
Exactly.
right.
Good counting.
Quote, the presence of Romanesque architecture in 10th century Western Europe suggests that the Roman era was not as long ago as conventionally thought. End quote. And I'll point out, I'll point out that Wikipedia doesn't even have a refutation for that ironclad argument.
Yeah, but you don't need to explicitly refute the argument from incredulity. They just figure you're smarter than that. They don't have to say anything out loud.
There's a cheesecake factory in my town. That means I live in ancient Egypt. It's crazy.
It indicates that. Conventionally. But the smoking gun of Illig's theory, the grassy knoll, the princess's airbag, if you will,
That's a real thing.
is
Bad example.
none other than Noah's own ally, the Gregorian calendar. Dun,
Me and
dun,
we're not
dun.
even on speaking terms, me and the fucking group. Fuck that calendar.
So
Such a dumb calendar.
we
It
did a
is.
whole episode on this calendar, and I won't go into too much detail, but to
Because
make
you
a
didn't
long...
listen.
Yeah, I didn't. That's true. But to make a
What
long...
calendar are we on now?
The pug a day.
Gregorian. It's
The
Gregorian.
Boo the Pug calendar.
Wow.
You asked me what
Just
calendar
saying
I'm
the
on.
things you see.
The hang in
am-
there, baby cat calendar. That's what I have on my wall.
I ran out of the Little Pickles the Pug, and now I'm on Boo the Pug for 2021. Quote, the Julian calendar, introduced by Julian Caesar, was known to introduce a discrepancy from the tropical year of around 1 day for each century that the calendar was in use. By the time the Gregorian calendar was introduced in AD 1582, Illig alleges that the old Julian calendar should have produced a discrepancy of 13 days between it and the real or tropical calendar. Instead, the astronomers and mathematicians working for Pope Gregory VIII had found that the civil calendar needed to be adjusted
13.
by only 10 days. End quote. The only explanation? Pope somebody and another guy invented 297 years of history. Math,
Well, that would
baby!
explain where the hell those other 5 popes went.
Exactly. They were going to change it to 13 days, but that's bad luck. So they decided to do 12 days with a 12A and 12B. They decided to do it that way instead.
Yeah, 12, 13, 297 years.
That's how it goes.
Whatever.
Now, at the risk of Marsh coming back and doing an entire new guest episode just on me, in the name of fairness, before we conclude, I guess I should address the itsy bitsy teeny weeny yellow polka dot bikini flaws that there are in this otherwise flawless theory.
Eli, the entire essay has been a concession statement. We're already doing that.
You
What
are.
you talking
You are
about?
doing that. You are.
Yeah.
America, face down in the mud. So, when it comes to the complete and total absence of archaeological evidence from this time period, there's actually quite a lot of it. Also, carbon dating is probably real, and it actually can be tied to specific years and not just how long ago something was because they can use well-documented events like storms and fires and stuff, but whatever. Boo nerd, right?
Or undocumented
earlier.
events like there was a campfire, for example.
Yeah.
Also works.
Exactly. So next up,
So is that a retraction of bup, bup, bup?
it's not a retraction. It's a.
It feels like you said the opposite
It's
of
a
what
crossfire.
you were
We're on a
earlier.
crossfire. I'm Tucker Carlson. You're a Nazi. It's
You're
working.
asking questions. Yep.
Exactly. Next up, of
So you
the
guys are
very,
friends.
very few ancient texts we have, tiny, barely there, really. Like, meh, what? Their astrological observations do seem to match up with the so-called accepted timeline, like the solar eclipses observed by Pliny the Elder in 59 AD and Photius in 18 AD. And also China had really explicit records of Halley's Comet.
Yep.
Actually, pretty much all of China's history is a problem for this theory. Whatever.
Yeah. 297 years actually came from the lab.
Exactly. It's obvious that
A wet
Pope
market
Otto
of
King,
years.
whatever, teamed up with China and the trees and created a bunch of fake mathematically sound eclipses and comets.
Dude, if astronomy worked to prove timescales, there wouldn't be a scale model biblical arc in Kentucky.
Exactly. Thank you, Cecil.
No, maybe God dialed the speed of light back as he went, Cecil. He just
Yeah.
he was like, whoa,
No,
this
yeah.
is way too fucking
no,
fast.
that could be it. That could be it.
I have a bedroom lamp that's getting slow when you turn it on.
Yeah,
It's
right,
probably
exactly.
how it works.
I'm in bed
Also-
before the lights even hit me, man. It's crazy. Just,
Yeah, exactly.
Fuck, they learned about MC square. I gotta fix this. Give me a second.
MC cubed? MC Escher?
No.
MC Hammer?
MC Escher was the closest.
Back to the flaws in this theory. About that thing about Charlemagne being fake, I guess like some other people saw him and wrote about him in other parts of the world. Also, Muhammad was alive during the
Fairly
time period
important
that didn't exist.
person.
And pretty sure he's real. But you don't know, maybe Muhammad teamed up with the Pope in China and the trees to put a different Pope in power, probably.
It worked for Hugo Chavez and Joe Biden.
Well, that's
so, I
true.
mean,
Yeah, no, we do have modern day
I
precedent.
knew you would
Don't
come
worry.
around to my side eventually.
interesting.
Thank
on
you.
Eli's team.
Yeah. And also that calendar thing at the end, that's nothing.
It's
That's
meaningless,
nothing, none
yes.
of it. When they adjusted the calendar, they did it to change the date of Easter, which was later changed by the Nicene Council. So that explains the difference that it like calculated. Like it's just you could have Googled. It's just and last,
He
and I mean,
couldn't have Googled. I'll give him that.
that's fair. Yeah, he couldn't have Googled. He could have .netted or whatever the fuck early internet was. And last, and I mean super leastly, like whatever. Like this last thing probably won't even make it into the podcast. It's such a teeny tiny minor detail. So you might remember that this whole theory is based on the idea that Otto and those other kings moved up the calendar so they could rule during the year 1000 AD. Except according to the theory, they only moved the calendar up to 911 AD, which is 89 years before
Yeah,
1000 AD, at which time they were all very much dead.
Okay, and
So
your explanation for that is
time capsules. Ruled
All right.
by time capsule.
And if you had to summarize what you learned in one sentence, what would that be?
I'm way ahead of my time.
Okay. Are you ready for the quiz?
Give me a minute. Okay, now I'm ready for the quiz.
Great.
Take a minute.
All right.
It's like one of those little things. Give a penny, take a penny. It's right
Yeah,
there.
exactly.
Eli, you ready?
Yes.
Which of the following is the best dating site for people who believe in stuff like this? A. Okay, stupid. B. Ivermectin.
Oh, that's fucking amazing.
Or
Bravo.
C.
I'm standing.
Carbon dating.
Oh, I gotta go with carbon dating. Carbon dating. C.
Carbon dating is correct.
Fantastic.
Oh, amazing. So good. All right. Eli, which of the following is the dumbest thing people believe? A. According to QAnon canon, powerful satanic pedophiles transfer children to each other in underground tunnels and then cut off their faces to harvest adrenochrome. B. According to the
More
movie.
adrenochrome in adults.
Why is there so much in the face? I don't even get it. B. According to the movie, What the Bleep Do We Know? Native Americans couldn't see explorer ships at sea when they arrived in the Americas because they hadn't seen ships before. C, according to prosperity gospel, religious leaders talk to God, and instead of providing some great insider truth, he just really wants you to give more money to religious leaders. Or D, according to the essay schedule, we should let Eli write citation needed scripts.
I know it's Cecil.
Is D because we should know better?
Yes, correct. I didn't think you'd pick D, but it is D. Absolutely.
All right. I got one for you, Eli. Missing time isn't real, and it can't hurt you, Eli. And we know this because A, there are well-documented, or E, all of the above.
Okay, that one was spooky.
So good.
I'm going to go with
that is so good.
A.
Oh, I'm sorry. It was C. There were
Damn.
3 elephants under the tablecloth.
It's tough because both Heath and Noah were super clever, but I'm going to give it to Noah. That was very, very excellent use of the A through E. Excellent. Bravo.
Thank
You're
you.
the winner.
Thank you. All right. Well, since he's not here to defend himself, I'll go with Thomas next week's essayist.
Okay. All right. Well, for Eli, Noah, and Heath, I'm Cecil. Thanking you for hanging out with us today. We'll be back next week, and by then, Tom will be an expert on something else. Between now and then, come celebrate 600 episodes of Cognitive Dissonance with Tom and I on, well, Cognitive Dissonance. Or you could listen to the other shows, Scathing Atheist, Skepticrat, God Awful Movies, and D&D Minus. If you'd like to help keep this show going, you can make a per-episode donation at patreon.com/citationpod or leave us a 5-star review anywhere you can. And if you'd like to get in touch with us, check out past episodes, connect with us on social media, or check the show notes. Be sure to check out citationpod.com.
All right, who's ready to podcast? Damn it, must have been pre-show shenanigans. I also enjoyed Squid Game. Did.